Yeah, good morning everyone. And today we are going to do strategy on GS paper 2. Yesterday we have done prelim strategy. Overall we have seen, how to deal with prelims. And then today we will be doing GS paper 2 strategy in the form of both prelims and mains. What are topics in prelims and what are there in mains. So GS paper 2, when we say, it is basically mains, GS paper 2. But then there is an overlapping with your prelim subjects, that is polity, constitutions, right? So that is what we will be doing this session from both polity aspect which comes in your prelims and also entire GS paper 2 which comes in the mains. Okay? Alright, so let's start. So what is this on the screen? What is the picture on the screen? Indian Parliament. Is it the same what we are using now also? Then it has changed, right? What is that known as? Central vistas, right? That is Parliament only, but then they have named it, they called with central vistas. Fine. So you see, GS paper 2 is a very important, particularly when you see the polity aspect in your prelims. Why I am emphasizing is that the strike rate in polity can be the maximum. That is one subject which will help you in scoring really well in your prelims if you strengthen that subject, because most of the questions they are doable. People make mistakes in polity because one thing, they have not studied it properly or they have not revised. They would have studied but they would have not revised properly, and also because if they have not studied the question properly. So polity questions, they are comparatively easy because there is one good source for polity, that is Lakshmikant. If you study really well Lakshmikant and also you have done the NCERT section, you can really do maximum question in the polity. Strike rate will be very high. So why people still make mistakes in polity? Because of lack of revision, and secondly, they don't read the question properly. Hurriedly they will mark it. Right. So if you are a bit careful with the polity, that will really help you in scoring well in your prelims, because a good chunk of the question come from polity, right? So this is what the number of question we have seen in polity in these various years. So on an average, what we can see is that 15 questions, 15 to 18 questions every year from polity. And if you add on the government schemes, it becomes 20 to 22 questions from polity sections, if the government schemes are also included. Right. So out of 100 questions, you see 1/5 of the question, or 1/4, I would say, sometime 1/4 of the question coming from one topic or one subject. Isn't it so good? Isn't it? If we really develop a good hold over that subject, we can score really well, isn't it? So polity, you can really strengthen it. They are easy and they are doable. So you see, look at the number of questions. So they can vary, but this is what on an average every year it will come. There is some aberrations, like in 2017 they had asked good number of questions, and 2019 they have reduced, but generally if you see, you can see 18, 15, 16, 18. So that is where you can expect at least these many questions, right? Right. So what is there in your GS paper 2? As I have mentioned yesterday also, that knowledge of syllabus is extremely important. extremely important. So you should know the syllabus well, and also what are the terms mentioned in the syllabus. So try to know the definition of those terms. Whatever the term you are coming across, like what do we mean by polity, what do we mean by constitution, what do we mean by governance, try to define those terms. Try to understand the meaning of the term, or you can somewhere write, because these terms, when you know these terms, it becomes very easy and handy to start an answer. Like you don't see, there are several ways to start the answer. One is, if we don't know anything and we know the meaning of the term or definition of the term, we can start with that. Right? Like for example, what is constitution? Why it is needed? So you can start with the defining of the constitution, isn't it? So definition and meaning of the term, it becomes very handy. There are other way also to start, like you can start with some data, figure or facts. You can start with some quotation also, right? So what is the easiest way? If you know the definition, and if you don't know any proper data, or we don't know any proper codes, relevant code, at least we know the meaning and we know the definition, we can easily start the answer. That will give you a good punch to start your answer. So try to know the meaning, and also it helps in developing better understanding of the topic. So look at the term what is used: governance, constitution, polity, social justice and international relations. These are the topic which is there in your GS paper 2. Now what is, let's first understand constitution and polity. And then we'll look in the syllabus. So what is constitution? What do you mean by constitution? Any idea? Any idea? Making laws and articles. So basically constitution is a set of rules which guides the governance of the country. Right? How the country would be governed. So constitution provides you a set of rules. It defines the power and authority. Who are the authority and what power they will have. Right? So how the power will be exercised and who are authorized to exercise those power. Like it is mentioned, Article 53 of the Indian Constitution, that all the executive action will be taken in the name of the president. Right? So that is how every citizens of the country, they know that all the executive actions are taken in the name of the president. He is the executive head. But then there is also an article which says that Article 74, that says that the president should abide by the advice of Council of Ministers. So it is not the president who is taking the decision on its own, but the president has to abide by the recommendation or advice of the Council of Ministers, Article 74. So that shows that the president is the nominal executive. The real executive is the Council of Ministers headed by Prime Minister. So all these things we come to know from where? From the Constitution, right? So it is a set of rules. It is like a rule book, right? Which shows how the country would be governed or administered. Polity. What do you mean by polity? The term polity. A system of government, right? A system of government. So what is the Indian political system? Or what is the nature of Indian polity? We are parliamentary form of government, right? We are parliamentary form of government. We are a federal government, right, where the power is divided between center and state, and parliamentary form of government. That means we are more accountable form of government. If we compare from the presidential form of government, a parliamentary form of government is more accountable form of government, where the executives are drawn from the parliament itself, right? Executive means what? The government, the ministers, right? So ministers are part of whom? Of the parliament itself, isn't it? Without a member of parliament, you cannot remain as a minister for a long time. You can become a minister. There is mention that within for 6 months, anybody can become minister even if he is not a member of parliament. But within 6 months, the person has to become a member of parliament. So the executive are drawn from the parliament itself, and the executive are constantly accountable to the parliament. Isn't it? Through questions hour, through adjournment motions, there are various techniques through how the parliament ensures the accountability of the government. That we will do with the in later part of the class, right? So what does it say? You understood what is polity, you understood what is constitution. So that is what you should know, the definition and meaning of the term. Clarity. If somebody asks you what is constitution, simple way, it is set of rules which helps in governing the country, right? Simple. And then further you can say it is the rule book which defines who will exercise what power, who are authorized, right? The constitution also deals with the faith and aspirations of the people. Like we want democracy, isn't it? India is a democratic country. We are a sovereign country. We are a socialist country. We are a secular country. These are the faith of the people. What are the aspirations of the people? We want justice. We want equality. We want liberty. Isn't it? So all these things become from the constitution. Then social justice. What do you mean by social justice? So social justice is a term, or you can say social justice is defined as basically those policies which are made for the underprivileged section of the society, so that they can also come par with the, or they can come into the mainstream of the society. So social justice is to ensure egalitarian nature of society. Egalitarian. Everybody is, equal. Everybody is equal in the eye of law. So those people who are underprivileged, like in India, who are the underprivileged section? Scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, women, elderly, even children, they become part of the vulnerable section of society, isn't it? They are the disadvantaged. Like children, you need to take care of the children. They can't take care of themselves, right? So there has to be some good laws and policy which will take care of the children. So it is there, like in the constitution itself, that every children, they have right to education, isn't it? Compulsory education, Article 21A. Then every children, every child, every infant from 0 to 6 years, they need to be provided a good care. And then there is an Anganwadi which will provide you the good care through the Integrated Child Development Scheme, ICDS, isn't it? So these are what? Social justice, or whatever the schemes meant for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, because they are disadvantaged. So reservation is a part of your social justice, isn't it or not? Women reservation, social justice. So any programs, any schemes, any law which is meant for the upliftment of the vulnerable section of society, that is part of your social justice. Widow pension scheme, or you have Gruha Jyoti Yojana, all these are part of your social justice scheme, isn't it? Sakti Yojana, social justice. Okay. Then governance. What do you mean by the term governance? Governance is, it is the manner in which power is exercised. It is the manner in which power is exercised for governing the country. So manner in which, you see, the manner in which the power is exercised for the socio-economic development of the country. So if the power is utilized in a good manner, it will lead to good governance. And if the power is utilized in a bad manner, it will lead to what? Bad governance. Isn't it or not? So what are the examples of bad governance? Simple example you give me. Corruption. Isn't it? Corruption, maladministration, means where administration is not carried out properly, maladministration, abuse of authority, corruption, crony capitalism. Crony capitalism means where the government is supporting only the rich class, the capitalist class. So these are what? Example of good governance or bad governance? Bad governance. What is the example of good governance? Where the governance is carried out as per the rule of law. Then what is rule of law? Rule of law means everybody should be treated equally. There is no privilege section. Everybody is equal in the eye of law. There should not be any discrimination. Every citizen should have the same rights. Isn't it? Rule of law, transparency, accountability, participations of the people in governance. These are example of what? Good governance. Decentralization, good governance. Right? So where where people are made part of the system and where people has been given right to make the system accountable to them, where the system function in a transparent manner, everything is open. Secrecy is an example of good governance or bad governance? Bad governance, right? Too much of secrecy. See, there are certain things which the government has to keep it confidential. That is okay, fine. Nobody should be raising their hand against that or voice against that. But those things which are supposed to be known by the people, you have to make it open. Right? So, confidentiality is different and secrecy is different. So, there are certain things which the government has to keep it confidential. The government cannot, bring everything out all of a sudden. Right? So, those things are there. But otherwise, secrecy, particularly those things which are kept in secret, which would harm the people, then that is a part of your bad governance. Right? So, we understood the term what is governance, the manner in which power is exercised for the utilization of socio-economic resources of the country for development. How the resources are utilized. If the resources are utilized in a well manner, it leads to good governance. And if the power is also exercised in a good manner, it leads to good governance, otherwise bad governance. Right? So you see, you can go through the video again and try to note down all the definitions and all what we have discussed. Right? So you will have something where you can, refer. And if you want me, ma'am, please dictate, I'll dictate also. Okay? So governance, constitution, polity, social justice, we understood the term. Now what is international relation? What is international relation? Only economic development? It can be political also, isn't it? So international relation is where a country shares what kind of relation with the outside world. That is called international relation. India-US relation, India-Russia relation, India with neighbor, right? And the various international organization, how they impact India, United Nations, WHO, WTO, all this you will be studying under the international relation, right? So how a country shares or what kind of relationship a country shares with the outside world. That is a part of your right. So let's now look into the briefly the syllabus. So this chunk is a part of your polity and constitution, like Indian constitution, historical, how the constitution has come into being, how it has evolved, the features of Indian constitutions, then functions and responsibility of the union and state, federal structures, challenges, separations of power between various organs. As of now, I am just reading the syllabus. In detail, we will go as we move forward in the class. Okay? Comparison of the Indian constitutional schemes with that of the other countries. like how our Indian constitution scheme, like we have a federal form of government, we have a parliamentary form of government. What the US has presidential form of government, we are parliamentary form of government. UK is also parliamentary form of government, right? Then we are federal government, but we are not same kind of federal government what US is there. So we are federal, but our federalism is different from US. Our federalism is more similar to Canada. So all this, that is part of your the comparison between the different countries and all. So you see, then parliament and state legislature, the functionings and all, then structure, organization, functions of the executive, ministries and departments, salient features of the responsibilities of representation of people acts that deals with basically regarding elections and all, right? Then appointments of various constitutional posts, how the appointment takes place of Chief Justice of India, President, Prime Minister, how are they all being appointed? CAG is Comptroller and Auditor General, how they all are. UPSC is a constitutional body, right? So how UPSC is constituted, how the members are being appointed, how they can be removed, all these things, right? We will be studying under the appointment of various constitutional posts, their power, functions and responsibilities. Okay. Then statutory, regulatory and various quasi-judicial body. So statutory bodies, those bodies which are created by a law. So there are certain bodies which are created by the constitution itself, like UPSC is a constitutional body, Election Commission is a constitutional body because it is mentioned in the constitution, right? Then there are certain other bodies which are created by a law made by legislature, either parliament or state legislature. Those are called as statutory bodies. Okay? Like for example, UGC, University, UGC, University Grant Commission, right? Or for example, SEBI, Stock Exchange Board of India, right? Various regulatory bodies, all these are example of your statutory body because they are created by a law made by parliament, or it can be by the state legislature also. Then there are some bodies which are created by the executive themselves, like by the government themselves. For example, Niti Aayog. Have you heard about Niti Aayog? Niti Aayog. So these bodies, earlier it was Planning Commission. Later on, from 2015, Planning Commission was scrapped and in that place Niti Aayog was created. So it was created by the government itself. It was not created by the parliament, neither it is a constitutional body, right? So these are the example of those bodies which are created by the executive, right? So you understood there are three different types of body. One created by the constitution, like Election Commission, UPSC, CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General. These all are example of what? Constitutional body. Then there are second type of body which are created by the legislature, right? Either parliament or state legislature. For example, UGC, University Grant Commission. You all know UGC, right? And then your various regulatory bodies like SEBI, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, IRDA, then your Indian Airport Authority Limited. These all are regulatory bodies. So these all are created by whom? By the legislature, act of a legislature. Then there are other bodies which are created by the government itself. They are called as body created by the executive, right? So they are called non-statutory, non-constitutional body, right? Like for example, Niti Aayog is a non-statutory and non-constitutional. See, that these kind of questions will come in your prelims also. They'll ask you, like, which of the following bodies are created by the constitutions? Which of the following bodies are not created by the constitution, or they are not statutory body? So you should know what type of bodies are created by what. So please make notes, okay? You can go and refer the class again at the speed you want, and then try to make some notes, and also try to make notes in the class also. See, these things, they will be there in your books also, but then there are certain, contextual things which I will be talking in the class for more explanation. So you will know, okay, what is called statutory body, what is called executive bodies, what are called constitutional body, right? So you'll have then and there, and go always, there is a 3-step formula which I always recommend for better consolidation. One is that always study and come in the class. You should ask your faculties or teacher that, madam or sir, what class you are going to take tomorrow. So before that you are coming to the class, you should try to study those things, read and come at least. So you'll get in some idea, okay, fine, these are the topics that has to be done in the class. You will be not like lost. Arey Baba, first time I'm hearing those things. No, it shouldn't be like that. You should know, yes, I have read about it. You'll get more clarity, and then if you have any doubt, you can ask from the faculty then and there, right? They can ask, sir, I have not understood this part of the topic, if you can again explain. So one is that always study and come. Second step is that regularly attend the classes. Regularly. See, everything has to be regularity and consistency. Consistency is the king. Have you heard about the story of a tortoise and a rabbit? So, slow and steady wins the race, isn't it? Steadiness. See, the rabbit was very fast. The rabbit was supposed to win the race. But what happened? The rabbit took a very long break. It ran very fast, and there was a lot of overconfidence, right, in the rabbit. Oh, I can easily beat the tortoise. That shouldn't be there. We should not have overconfidence. Confidence is very, very important. We should develop the confidence, and that will happen only through your regular practice, revision and all. You will gain the confidence. Confidence is important. At the same time, we shouldn't become overconfident, right? Then what we should maintain, the most important thing, what we have learned from that story, steadiness, consistency, regularity, that has to be there. I'm not saying that, you shouldn't take any break or so. You should take the break. See, recharging is also important. Recharging your mind, soul, body is very, very important. So for that, you can make a proper plan. Okay, I will study for 1 week, very hard, and then, 1 day in a week or maybe half day in a week, I can take a break. I can go for whatever you like to do. I can go for picnic, I can be with my friends, I can do chit chat, I can go to movie, whatever you like. I can go for trekking, isn't it? फिर 1 महीना 2 महीना पूरा पढ़ लिया, I want to take a bit long break. I want to go for 2-3 days, outside Bangalore or so, to break the monotony. That is important, but the break shouldn't be too long, right? So you should be able to recharge your body and mind. That also we will be discussing, how to study. That's very, very important. Right. So, and then quasi-judicial body. What is quasi-judicial body? Yes, sorry, I was mentioning about the 3 steps, right? So, first step I mentioned that always study and come in the class, whatever the topic has to be done. Secondly, attend the class regularly. And thirdly, go and revise whatever has been done. So, this 3-step formula, if you do regularly, definitely the outcome will be very, very high, isn't it? So, we have to minimize the input, maximize the output, isn't it? So, with this kind of strategy, your output will be more, definitely more. Yes, coming back to the topic, quasi-judicial body. So, what is quasi-judicial bodies? So, those bodies, so before that you have to understand what is judicial body, right? So, what are judicial bodies? Those bodies which resolves the disputes, isn't it? Those bodies which resolves the dispute and which have right to pass an order, for resolving the disputes. So whatever it takes to resolve the disputes. And even they can pass punishment. They can pass punishment order also, isn't it? Judicial body, like your courts, they can pass punishment order or not. If somebody has done wrong, somebody has violated the law, even punishment order can be passed, right? And they have to be obeyed. They have to be obeyed. Whatever these bodies, they pass the order, it has to be obeyed, even by the government. The government cannot refute it. So they are called judicial body. Now quasi-judicial bodies are those bodies which they do the work like that of the judicial function. They resolve the disputes, right? But their order, it is not executed per se. First it goes to the government. It is more advisory in nature. Quasi-judicial body are more advisory in nature. Their work is also to resolve the dispute, just like the judicial body. Arbitration, like, right? So for example, NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, these are what? Quasi-judicial body. NHRC, then your National Green Tribunal, National Green Tribunals, the various types of tribunals that we will again do in the detail in the later part of the class. So the various types of tribunals, NHRC, these all are what? Quasi-judicial body, because their orders, it is not directly implemented. It will go to the government and then government will approve, then it will be executed. Right? So that's why they are called as quasi-judicial. They are not fully judicial but looks like judicial. Quasi means looks like. Right? They are not pure judicial body but it looks like quasi. It does the function of a judicial but they are not purely judicial body. Okay? So example you can write various types of tribunals. National Green Tribunals, even NHRC, National Human Rights Commissions. These all are the example of your quasi-judicial bodies. I hope you understood till here. Clear? Then those part we have done, polity and constitution. Whatever the parts we have discussed, that will come under your polity and constitution. Then the second part is your social justice. So as I have mentioned, social justice are those programs basically which are meant for the upliftment of the vulnerable section of the society, right? So here you will be studying, you see, government policies and intervention for the development in the various sectors and issues arising out of their designs and implementations. So the various government schemes meant for the vulnerable section of the society, and also what issues are coming in the implementations. Like for example, MNREGA. You know what is MNREGA? Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, right? So this is an example of social justice. This is a law meant for providing at least 100 days of minimum employment to the non-skilled people in the rural areas, right? So how these policies were being made and what are the issues in the implementation, whether it is implemented well or there is some kind of problems. Like in MNREGA, you must have heard about like there are many fake names registered, and then people are not getting wages properly on time, isn't it? So these are the various implementational issues. So all these you will be studying under that topic. Various government schemes and then issues arising because of their implementations and all. Then development process and development industries, the role of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, self-help groups, all this we will be doing. What is self-help groups, NGOs and all. The various groups, association, donors, charitable institutions and etc. How they contribute in the development. These bodies, NGOs, they are not part of the government, right? They are the voluntary organization. So how these organizations contribute towards development. So that we will be studying under that topic. Then welfare schemes for the vulnerable section of societies. Various welfare scheme, how their performance is there, how they are performing. right? Like for example, Shakti Yojana you have the Gruha Jyoti Yojana. These are the various welfare schemes. Then how are these performing? Are they performing well, or there is any lacuna? Those we will be studying under this heading. Then issues relating to development and management of social sectors, services relating to health, education and human resources. So what are the issues related with education in India? Whether you see there has been report that we are providing the education particularly in the government schools and some of them even in the private sector. But the students who are of class 4 and 5 studying in class 4 and 5, but they are not able to read a book of class 2, right? So all those issues and problems. And then why India, the health sector allocation is very, very low. How much there should be the allocation of budget to the health sector, isn't it? To the education sector, because these two sectors are very important or not? Then skill building, national skill development corporations we have created. So all these topics related to health, education and skill building and all, human resource development, we will be studying under this topic. Then issues relating to poverty and hunger. All this topic will be studying under social justice. So this is this is what you should do, the dissection of the syllabus, isn't it? So now you will be able to understand. See, after the class, definitely you will be able to understand GS paper 2 syllabus much better way. This is what the dissection we have to do for all the syllabus, GS paper 1, GS paper 2, GS paper 3 and 4. Then you will have a good hold over the syllabus. You will know under what topic what I have to study. Okay. Then governance topic. As I mentioned you, what is governance? The governance is basically the way, the manner in which the power is exercised for the utilization of social and human resources for the development of the country, right? So the manner in which the power is exercised for the utilization of the social and human resources of the country for development, right? So under this topic you will be studying important aspect of governance. So what are the important aspect I have mentioned, right? Transparency, accountability, then e-governance. E-governance is part of, basically e-governance ensures transparency and accountability in governance. So the various model of e-governance, what is e-governance, all this we will be studying under this topic. Their success, limitations, right? E-governance application model, success, limitation, potential. Then citizens charter, transparency, accountability. What are the other institutional measures which helps in bringing transparency and accountability? Like for example, CVC, Central Vigilance Commission, NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, Lokpal, Lok Ayukta. Have you heard about all this? So all these things, you know, these are the institutions which tries to bring accountability and transparency in governance, right? It enforces the government to be more accountable. It enforces the administration to be more accountable and more transparent. Social audit, all these things. Citizens charter. Citizens charters are basically whatever the services you get from the government. So citizens charters want basically that you should rate those services. Rating of the services should be done. There should be consultation with the people, that how we can improve the services. Like you go to bank, you go to railway stations and all, you go to pay the electricity bill. So wherever the citizens, they have the interface, there should be citizens charter. Though in India it has not been very successfully implemented, but then in other part of the country, other part of the world, they have been trying to implement citizens charter to make the system more accountable, more transparent, more citizen friendly. Citizens charter is meant for to make the government services more citizen friendly, right? So all those things we will be studying under that. And then the role of civil service and democracy. So what is civil service? You are going to be the part of that, right? You are aspiring to become part of civil services. Isn't it or not? So what is the role of bureaucracy or civil services in development? So that we will be doing in detail under these topics. International relation, India and its neighborhood relation, like how India has its relations with its neighborhood, like Pakistan, Sri Lanka. They all are our neighbor or not? Who are all the other neighbors? Bangladesh, Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, right? So all these with all these neighbor, what is our relationship? That's very important, right? Because we should have a country can progress only when we have a very good relations with our neighbor, because that will bring us stability, right? Wherever there is a stability, there is more growth, there is more prosperity. Like US, United Kingdom, all these countries, they prosper well. Why? Because their neighbor side tension free, right? They are tension free. Then the neighbors are not creating trouble for them. So that's why they are stable and they are doing well. But India, we have some hostile neighbor, isn't it? Which creating problems in our development, because much of our attention is to save us from those hostile neighbor, isn't it? Much of our resources goes there so that we can protect ourselves from the hostile neighbor. So that's why India, even after so many years of independence, we are lacking in the development as other country would have done in these many years. Because one of the reason, see, there are so many reasons. One of the reason is also that we are surrounded by some hostile neighbors, right? Particularly Pakistan, we had a very bad relations. We have a lot of wars. We had number of wars with Pakistan, and then China of late is becoming a major threat for us, and already we had a war also with China. So all those kind of things. Then bilateral, regional, global groupings. So bilateral agreements between like India-Russia agreement, India-France agreement, that is called bilateral. Regional agreements, for example, SAARC. Have you heard about SAARC? SAARC is anyway defunct now. ASEAN. Have you heard about ASEAN? Association of Southeast Asian Nation, Asian countries. So these are called regional groupings, or BRICS. Regional groupings, right? So all these things you will be studying. Then global groupings like United Nations, WHO, WTO, these all are called what? Global groupings. Because most of the country of the world, they are the part of that group. And then agreements involving India and affecting India's interest. All these things we will be studying under this topic. Then India, effect of policies and politics of developing country. So what policies are being adopted by the developed countries? For example, US, United Kingdom, France, Germany, they are all called as developed countries, right? The effect of the policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interest. So what is the US policy, or how the US policy is affecting India's interest, or how the Russian policy is affecting India's interest, right? Or how the Brazil is a part of your developing countries, right? So how Brazil, if they are formulating certain policies, or South Africa, that is also part of your developing countries. So how their policies and politics affecting India's interests, that we will be studying. Then the role of Indian diaspora. What is Indian diaspora? Those people who are Indian origin but residing in other country, or they have a citizenship of other country, right? Like Indian US, isn't it? Yeah, so those people who are living in other countries, right? But they were part of Indian system, or they were Indian citizen once upon a time. They are called as Indian diaspora. But now they'll have the citizenship of other country, but earlier they were part of India. Indian origin, right? Their origin lies in India, but now they are citizens. Yeah, citizens of other country. Like you have this, we can say Indian diaspora, Bobby Jindal, who was, running the presidential election. He was nominated, but later on he withdrew the election, Bobby Jindal. Then there was Rishi Sunak. He was the ex-prime minister of UK, right? Person of Indian origin, right? Diaspora, you can say them. Lakshmi Mittal, who is a chairman of Arcelor Group in UK, Indian origin, person of Indian origin. So these all are what? Indian diaspora, and how they influence the relationship of India with their host country. And also you can say those people who are not the citizens, who have not acquired the citizens of other country, but they have gone for their education or employment, like NRIs. NRI is also part of your Indian diaspora. NRIs, they have Indian citizenship, but they are for the employment purpose or for education purpose, they are residing in foreign countries, right? And we get lot of remittances from Gulf, isn't it? We get lot of remittances from those people working in Gulf countries, right? So that is also part of Indian diaspora. Then important international institutions, agencies, fora and their structure mandate. So here you will be studying United Nations, WTO, WHO, all these kind of Paris Agreement, all these kind of things you will be studying under this, right? International organization. I hope you got some idea and clarity till here. So with this we have completed the syllabus. So you see what you have to concentrate in Indian polity. See, out of whatever the syllabus we discuss, the Indian constitution part is the major chunk in your GS paper 2, major chunk. You can say 40% of the topic is covered by the Indian constitution, polity and constitution. The rest 60% is divided by governance, social justice, and in fact 50% you can say, 50% Indian constitution and 15% all other topics, social justice, governance and IR. So major chunk. So this is these are the topics where you have to concentrate, like preamble, citizenship, fundamental rights, UPSC, executive, legislature, judiciary, electoral process, federalism, local self-government, interstate relations, special provision related to some categories like SC, ST and all, non-constitutional bodies, constitutional bodies, parliament, schedules, amendment, anti-defection laws. These are the major topics which you have to cover under your Indian polity system, right? Indian polity and constitutions. These all what we will be covering. Then some of the very important topic, particularly for your prelims, preamble, fundamental rights, directive principle of state policy, fundamental duty, schedules, amendments. These you have to even more focus. It's not like that you don't have to focus other part, but here the maximum question we have seen, particularly from the prelims, they have been coming. Okay, just you can write preamble, fundamental rights, DPSP, major area of focus, fundamental duty, schedules, amendments. Okay, then what sources you have to study? This is again very, very important, what sources you have to study. So you see NCERT books, so basics, you should study. Start with class 6 to class 12 NCERT books to build the solid foundation, and in that also for polity there is 11th class, 11th NCERT, that is Indian Constitution at Work, Indian Constitution at Work. This book is very, very prominent. This book you should more focus, and along with that Lakshmikant and 11th class this. But 9th, 10th, 6th to 7th, what you can do, 6th to 8th, you read once. 6 to 8, once you read. Develop some understanding. Then 9th and 10th you read. Maybe you may have to read two, 3 times to get some more good understanding. Then you can go with 11th and 12th. And in the 11th and 12th also I gave you that more focus has to given to this book. Right? Though you have to read all the books, because see again it will help you in getting very good idea, which is helpful for writing good answers in mains. Good answers in mains. So it helps you in clarifying a lot of concepts and all. Then you can, Lakshmikant Indian polity is very, very good, particularly for prelims I would say. Particularly for prelims, even if you have not studied any book and you have studied Lakshmikant really well, you can clear, I mean you can solve maximum question from the Indian polity. Good number of questions. So prelims, it's very, very important, but since we are not studying only for prelims, we are studying also for mains. So I definitely suggest that you should go through the NCERT, so that it will help you in developing a good clarity of concepts, and many a time directly questions also they had asked from NCERT, even in prelims and also in mains. And I have told you which book to emphasize more. Then social justice, government schemes, governance. See, governance you can refer Lakshmikant selectively. Go through the syllabus and then match with the topic and read. It's not like we should blindly read everything. Matching with the syllabus, and any doubt anyway, your mentors are there here, they will help you out. Okay. Then social justice, for this basically government schemes, policy for weaker section you should study, and for that economy survey, India yearbook, that will help you more. And also it is bit more dynamic, even governance is more dynamic. So here you can also take the help of the whatever you will be studying for your current affairs, like from the newspaper, some good article in the newspaper, that also you can keep it. Okay, this topic has come from the social justice, I can keep these, or you can make some notes also from there. So whenever you read the newspaper, you should know that this article is helping which part of my general studies. So some good articles on social justice and all you can collect from there. Economy survey, India yearbook, various government schemes and all, it will help you. Apart from of course the class materials and class notes. Then international relation. International relation, this Pavneet Singh and current affairs on IU. This Pavneet Singh book will help you in building a foundation. A background, you will know the background. But most of the question in the current affairs, they come from the, in the international relation, they come from the current affairs. Whatever is currently going on. Like in India-Russia relation or India-US relation, if any issues, or India-Indonesia they can ask, because this year guest was Indonesian president, right? Chief guest for Republic Day. So that is how they can ask you. India-Indonesia or India-ASEAN they can ask you. ठीक है. So like that, mostly current affairs, but still we should know the background. So from where will you know the background? This book will help you. Okay. Then practicing previous year questions paper from both prelims and mains. As I have been always emphasizing, PYQ is the most important, that gives the direction to your preparation. So both from the prelims aspect and mains aspect, PYQ. We can start writing answers of PYQ and we can start solving from the prelims perspective. The daily newspaper reading, again it's very, very important. It will help you in updating. Like for example, any Supreme Court judgment or any important bills, laws, policies, that will help you in updation, right? They can directly ask the question from there. So newspaper reading, so that is paramount. You have to read newspaper regularly. I have also made a video regarding how to read newspaper. You can visit the channel and find that videos, how to read newspaper. In that in detail I have discussed why we should read newspaper, how it is helping in various other aspect. Not only updation current affairs, but in various other aspect also it is helping us. Then stay updated with the current affairs. Then some important website like PIB and PRS India, you can visit. PIB, it's a press information bureau which gives you a very authentic informations about the whatever the government is coming up with, any kind of ideas or any government news. PI gives the most authentic information. So PIB you can refer, and also this PRS India, which is particularly for any government schemes, policies, bills, laws. PRS India, they give a good analysis, right? So GS paper 2 is done from the perspective of your what sources and what material. So we have done the syllabus, we have done what are the important aspect, particularly in the prelims to focus, and then we have also seen what sources we have to study and how we have to study. I have told you like NCERT which one to focus, and then Pavneet Singh if you are studying for international relation, how you have to study for the background knowledge. Question will mostly come from the current affairs in the IR. And then social justice, again it is a very dynamic topic. I have told you like for that you can read the Economy Survey India yearbook and all. Budget also. And then governance, Lakshmikant, you can go selectively, match the syllabus and then you study. Apart from that, you can update yourself through daily newspaper reading, and then you have to be updated with the current affairs. Refer PIB and PRS India. Now you shouldn't think that it's too much and overwhelming. See, it will take time. Whatever we are studying, we are studying, as I have been always emphasizing, you will be getting the top positions in the country, isn't it? Administrative position, which are very crucial, extremely crucial. So you have to become suitable for that position, isn't it? You have to become suitable for that position. So you have to groom yourself. You have to groom. Hard work, at the same time smart work, always. So hard work to karna hi karna hai. There is no way out. But with that, we should also do the smart work. Limited material, more number of revisions, and doing the keen analysis of the previous year paper and accordingly building the strategy. That should be the fundamentals. I have seen many people, they are adopting very faulty strategy. That is where they are not even able to clear the prelims. So correct strategy is very, very important. So let's look into some prelims questions which will give you an idea. So polity, this that asked in 2024. The Constitution 71st Amendment Act 1992 amends the 8th schedule to the Constitution to include which of the following language. So I mentioned that schedule is many a time they had been asking the question from schedules. So there are total 12 schedules, right? So the 8th schedule deals with the language and amendments also. I told you they ask important amendments as well. So that is what the question is. So many people they have done correct and many people they have also done incorrect this question. This is actually a very direct and easy question, factual question, but of course revision is required. If somebody have not revised it well, they might find it, they may have done wrong this question, though it is a very easy question. I'll put it in the easy category. So the 71st Amendment Act, so there are basically 3 amendments. What is the answer? First tell me, then I'll will discuss. 71st Amendment Act, right? 71st Amendment Act 1992. Konkari, Manipuri, Nepali, Maithili. So which one? Answer is your, see there was 21st Amendment Act, you say A or B, 1, 2, 4. No, this is incorrect. This was by 92nd Amendment Act 2003. Maithili, Dogri, and what was that? There was 4 language. Bodo, Maithili, Dogri and Santhali. They were the 4 language which was included. So this is anyway incorrect. Nepali, Manipuri, Konkari, yes? Yes. So answer is 1, 2, 3. Because 21st Amendment Act, Sindhi, 1967. Sindhi was added to the 8th schedule. Originally, the 8th schedule has 14 languages, right? Then in 1967, 21st Amendment Act, Sindhi was added as the 15th language. Then 71st Amendment Act, 1992, 3 languages. These 3 languages were added, right? 15 plus 3, 18, right? Then 92nd Amendment Act 2003, another 4 languages were added. That were Maithili, Bodo, Dogri and Santhali. Right, these four languages. So now total how many language? 22 language. Originally it was 14. Sindhi was the 15th. Then 16th, 17th, 18th was Konkani, Manipuri and Nepali. Then your 19th, 20th, 21 and 22nd was Maithili, Bodo, Dogri and Santhali, right? This is a very easy question, but some of the students have done this also incorrect. So you see, if you miss out on this type of question, I am telling you, you may be out of the race. Because this is 90% student, 99% probably, they'll do this kind of question correct. But if you are making wrong in this type of question, that is what in the yesterday's session I discussed. People miss out if they don't solve properly easy question. And they have made, some people they have made it wrong this also because they have not revised it well and they were confused and they made it wrong. Look at this second question. What was the exact constitutional status of India on 26 January 1950? This is from 2021 prelims. A democratic republic, a sovereign democratic republic, a sovereign secular democratic republic, sovereign socialist secular democratic republic. So again, this is also very easy question. I have picked the very easy question. But again, if you have not revised it well, you may do wrong here also. So you know that secular and socialist along with integrity, it was added. If somebody have studied it well, they would know these were added in 42nd Amendment Act, right? 1976. So obviously on 1950, what were you deduct these terms? Deduct. So what is the answer you tell me? C. Sovereign. No. How come C? Secular was added right in 1976. C cannot be the answer. So this is D is not there. C is not there. Then between A and B. So what were the original? Sovereign, democratic and republic. This was original. Answer is B. Isn't it or not? Very easy question. But because of lack of revision, people may miss out there also. Next question. Which one of the following categories of fundamental rights incorporate protection against untouchability as a form of discrimination? This has come in 2020. Again, this question is also very, very easy. But then people may make it mistake here. What is the answer you tell me if you have read it? A. That is what people makes wrong mistake. Answer is your D. Right to equality. Article 14 to Article 18. And untouchability is what? Article 17. Isn't it? Article 17 deals with untouchability. Right to equality. Yes, I know this kind of mistake people do. Because we feel untouchability is something about exploitation, isn't it? And now you come to know how you are making mistakes. So you have to be very, very thorough. This is what you have to read between the lines. Isn't it? See, they will give you such kind of trap. Acha, untouchability, something related with exploitation, so it should be against right to exploitation. Article, which article deals with right to exploitation? Your right to freedom is Article 19 to 22. So right to exploitation क्या आ जाएगा? Article 23 and 24. Child labor and prohibition against illegal trafficking, Article 23. Prohibition of illegal trafficking and child labor. That is a part of your right against exploitation. Then Article 25 onwards, religious freedom, right to religion, right to religious freedom. Isn't it or not? Then you have the cultural and educational right, Article 29 and 30. And then you have constitutional remedies, Article 32. I hope you understood. So, see, this is a very, very easy question. This is where, you see, if you mark this, you missed the one very easy question where those students who are prepared well, they will mark it correct. So, people miss it out on the easy question and they get disqualified in the prelims. Not the tough question, because tough question is tough for everyone. So we have to be very, very careful, very careful. See this question, you see, this relates with the parts of the constitution. How many parts we have total? 25, right? Earlier 22, then later 3 parts were included. So again you have to know all the 25 parts. Then only you can do this. This is again very easy but very factual. Very easy and very factual. So see, from the PYQ you will come to know where you have to focus. You have to remember all the parts of the Indian Constitution. So powers of municipalities are given under part 9A, correct, through the 74th Amendment Act. Emergency provision in part 18, correct, article that is article 30, 352 to 360. right? 352, 360, that deals with your emergency, correct? Then provision related to amendment of the constitution given in part 20, correct? Article 368. So you have to be thoroughly knowing about all these parts. Answer is D. So this is how, you have to be very, very careful, and there are a lot of factual things which you have to remember. Analysis as well as fact. So most of the question we discussed here were basically factual in nature, right? Then you see some mains question I have picked up. This year mains only. Examine the need of electoral reforms as suggested by various committee with particular reference to one nation, one election. See, now this kind of answering mains question. That's why I told you, I given you all the sources. Neither by reading just Lakshmikant and probably by reading NCERT also, you will not be able to answer this question, because this is more related with current affairs, right? It is more related with current affairs, because they had asked about the committees also, right? Examine the need of electoral reforms as suggested by various committees. Which committees were involved here? Latest was Ramnath Kovind committee, which recommended for one nation, one election. Then you have to give the pros and cons of one nation, one election. This type of question you can do it only if you are up to date, right? So in mains you have to be really more up to date, isn't it? Then second question is quite easy, I would say. The role of Vice President of India as the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Very easy, 10 marks question, direct question. This you can do it if you have read Lakshmikant also. Aram se. So what is the Vice President and what is the role of the Chairman? But the question is about as the Chairman of Rajya Sabha, not as the Vice President. As the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. So you have to be very particular. See, this question is very easy, but at the same time, if you don't read the question properly, you may write the role of the Vice President, that he is the Vice President. When the President is not in office, he discharges the function, this, that, you will start writing. But that is not, you can give the passing reference, you can give some 1 or 2 point on that he does the work of the Vice President, but the main answer, what you have to write about? What is the role of the Vice President as the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha? So he is the presiding officer of the Rajya Sabha, right? Just like the Speaker is the presiding officer of the Lok Sabha, Vice President is the presiding officer of the Rajya Sabha. So what is his role and functions? He has to see that decorum is maintained, the house is done in work in an orderly manner, right? And he is the whole sole authority to regulate the functioning of Rajya Sabha, isn't it? So all these things you have to write about. Easy, simple. But then again, more focus has to be given as what his function is as the Chairman of Rajya Sabha. They are not asked what is the role of Vice President as Vice President. Got an idea? Any doubt? Yes? Bhumika? So this is your first class. Any doubt? Anywhere you felt? Anyway, if you have any doubt, you can reach to us. And online students, please, if you have any doubt on today's discussion, you can reach to us. You can chat in the comment box. We will resolve your doubts. Thank you. All the very best.